Who is All Smiles? All Smiles Therapy Center and Training Institute. Once, I graduated, just like you're graduating. That time, with a master's degree, MBA Corporate Management. And I had my friends come over. You can see Carol there, and other people in family. And I got many gifts. But after that, I just said, you know what? Bado, there is something I need to gift myself. For those who come from the village, like I do, you know, during graduation, I don't know how many, I think we limited you people. Or you have Nissans waiting for you. There were so many Nissans. Let me tell you, if you know my mom, she's the last person you need to invite for your occasion. She just tells you, we are only one Nissan. Shock on you on arrival. I counted the entire clan, my primary school teachers, including my nursery school teacher, everyone. It was such a moment. I felt love, but that moment, just like many of you, there is something we say in psychology. We have a wounded healer. That time I was not a healer, but I was still wounded. By many things around business, work, or heartbreaks. You know those things. So I still felt somehow empty. And before I returned my graduation gown, I said to myself, I'm going to get a good gift for me. I had many options. Maybe to upgrade the car, to go to Dubai for vacation. And I came across something as I was just Googling. Psychologist says, psychologist says, psychologist this, psychologist that. I just said, wait a minute. What is this all about psychology and these psychologists? Who are they? Where do they live? And I got interest to just get to know who they are. That's how I found myself next in USIU. And my gift was a second master's degree in counseling psychology. And the moment I was done, again the same people, Carol, and now Maua, who is here, my friend, they came and we celebrated. You know, that time I was working with Maua and they were busy asking me, now, hii kitu unapeleka wapi? For sure, I mean, I couldn't even tell my boss I'm in school because to do another master's, okay, fine. Psychology and what we do. But I still remember, to take you back, one of the bosses one morning came in and told me, Trizah, I do not know what you go to do in the evening, but whatever you are doing, just continue doing that because I have felt the impact. Those who know me, you know I'm never left hanging, so I followed him and I asked, hey boss, he's called Ben Ireri. What did you just say? That time I was managing a team and he said, well, before I had a few escalations about you by the team you manage, but surprisingly, they are now coming to say you're the best boss ever. And I was like, wow. That statement came before I finished, and when I was at a point of thinking, need this thing called psychology, no, because I had discovered so much. I find myself loving, people that I didn't like before. Accepting people that I thought, you know, the weight we carry, the beef. Being so empathetic. And I wasn't so sure if I really wanted to continue because it's called a journey of self-discovery. But that one statement made me go through. I was also, like what Oscar said earlier, we could log in and log out. I was like, anyway, I have a master. Do I really need to continue with this thing? And you know how people say when you become frequent in classes, you might go. Now you know no one goes mad. It's called schizophrenia. Anyway, back to it. That gave me hope. And I think that's what our trainers have been doing all through, to give you hope. So, Maua, I had a backup career. Now you see, because it never took long before I lost my dad to addiction. And this time I'm a psychology student and I went through a lot of pain. Because when I returned back to work, my friend Maua was there and trying to take me out for lunch. But she still didn't get, it was not lunch. I needed something more, someone I could share with about my dad. And so I used to go somewhere, we had some staircase, and I would just think about him, cry, go wipe my tears, and go back to my desk. Somehow she learned about it, and she would come over when I'm crying and tell me, I don't know what to tell you, but you cry if you feel like crying. But that time I made a resolute that no one in this company will ever lose their loved one and they go through what I've gone through. And I started. Anytime any of my colleagues would lose their loved one, would get an email from HR, and I was eager waiting for that person to come back. Hey, my paycheck, ilienda chini, but thank God, because I only had one duty, to invite them for lunch and ask them, how does it feel now that you've lost your loved one? I saw tears. Prof, I saw tears I never thought existed. Even at some point I'm like, what were we taught in class when someone does this? But what I didn't know is I was actually touching people, and that's how my journey began. By those who are next to you. They could now call and say, do you also mind talking to my sister, because after I talked to you? They would now even start inviting more. And now it was a bit of, how much do you charge? No, that's where my friend Carol comes in. You know, they're asking how much I charge. And Carol is like, you do not know, you do this, eh? Ask them how much they have. Carol, hi. She became a broker. And I felt like I was doing so bad. Please, our first aiders, because I know you will progress. These, and you know the much you paid. And also our psychologists in place. I love it when I do it for free, because I know I'm touching lives. But also don't allow yourselves to be misused out there. This course is highly mistaken to be one where ours is to offer pro bono services. Ours is, you pay the bills, right? If you must touch, be intentional about it. And the question of whether to pay or not should not be the leading phrase to you offer it for free. Wake up one day and say, I want to extend this, and I will do it. When you do that, you do not even go back to check, but trust me, there is a reward to it. But don't allow people to misuse you. So I learned it the hard way from Carol. And even my very first client who needed to come to my office, because all these clients I was seeing them virtually, Carol told me, I have a plan. Tengeneza brochure. It's not here today, here. Then I'll show you some office space. And that was the beginning of All Smiles Therapy Center and Training Institute. One day I woke up and I told my then boss, thank you for giving me a chance. I feel I need to go and do much more. In absentia, my husband is not here, also another director and a co-founder, because I remember back then, are you sure you are resigning? Fine. Mine will be simple. I will ensure I support you, but I'll be paying the rent and everything. Wewe unajipanga. I got support. Men in the house, it's true that behind every successful man, there is a, and also behind every successful woman, there is a man. Be that man to your spouses, to your daughters, to your siblings, and any other lady that you find, because they extended. Empowering a girl child was not supposed to be a substitute of having our men empowered. It was just supposed to be an uplift. And we are here to let you know, we know your position and your space as men in our lives. And that does not mean that you are sitting on our space. So I call upon the ladies here also to take up your space and claim it. So that was just a long story. Today, we have a rehabilitation center it's an inpatient for addictions and other mental disorders. And that's where Flo unawakilisha, Florida, she's our nurse. There are a number, but again, as I said, men, your space we are not taking. Now, it was Wadiamua, you Flo go because you are a lady, leave the male nurses here serving. Thank you for coming. We have now Francis, who is a recovery coach there, and we have Agate, who is there. When you come to our center, you will really see him, his face there. And we have an entire team, they are all there. And now we have our counseling center in Westlands, where we have Madam Frida taking the lead and other psychologists there. You can wave with them. That's where we do our in-person services. But trust you me, it's not easy, and we can't do it alone without our very amazing support team. Derek, na watu wako. Where are you? We need to see you. Victoria, Simama, Esther, Christina is the one who is busy doing her work. Yeah, but wako kazi. Joyce, and we are not just this, as I have said, we are a number. When you see them, get to know you've seen all smiles. Each and every person of you contacted us through that team and other people that they did. So we are an entire team, and not only for in-person, again, thanks to the Nkuki. When you are good, be ready to be mentioned severally, because we serve globally 24/7 when it comes to virtual and online services. That and much more. And I know people ask, by the way, do psychologists go for therapy? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Such a question. So, when it's so hard for us as psychologists, when you bring your things, Prof, we are taught well. We don't show, are you serious? Imagine going for therapy, then your therapist is, are you serious? And they are crying with you. I do not know how that would be. We are taught well, and so when it's heavy for our personal issues, we go for therapy. I have my therapist, and I believe each and every therapist. We all have a therapist.